right now we are going to introduce our keynote speaker, and I'm excited. I just met her a few minutes ago. She's the CEO of DunnWise Perspectives. Please give a warm, loud welcome to Miss Doris Dunn.
Today we're going to talk about the power of the mind and harnessing the energy that each one of us has within ourselves to do amazing things. Our minds are incredibly powerful. We have billions of neurons firing 24 hours a day. Our minds help us with everyday, mundane tasks. But if we know how to tap into the energy of our minds, we can solve problems that seem unsolvable and achieve goals that seem unattainable. I was listening to a podcast about a year ago. It was on mindset. And the guest being interviewed shared her story. She had a very difficult childhood, but today is a very successful celebrity. As she was talking about achieving the goals that she set for herself, I realized my story is very similar. I achieved just about every goal I ever set for myself. I earned promotions, awards, certifications. I ran in a half marathon, participated in a triathlon. When I first visited Nashville in the early 90s, I was there for a week. It was a work trip. And I realized that I wanted to move here. I fell in love with the city and I wanted to move there. I told my boss in Ohio, I told the team in Nashville, and a year later when the opportunity arose, I got the promotion. I moved to Nashville. It changed the trajectory of my life. When I did an inventory of the achievements I didn't achieve, I realized something different. I realized what was missing. Mindset and purpose. When mindset and purpose and clarity were there, I could achieve just about anything. When they were missing, I fell short, maybe even failed. We don't have control over the world around us. We can only control what's inside of ourselves. We can't control what other people do or say or how they show up. We can only control what's in ourselves, what we say, what we do. Early in my marriage, I suffered a miscarriage. And the doctors all said, "Oh, you'll get pregnant again, no problem." They were wrong. We tried for many years, and even with the help of infertility specialists. After a while, we gave up. I released control over that part of my life, and I focused on my career. But about a month later, my stepson moved in with us, and I realized I had achieved that dream, a child. The only difference was that I met him when he was 8, but he started to call me Mom the day his father proposed to me. That was more than 30 years ago. He still calls me Mom, and he never misses a birthday or a Mother's Day. He even showed up this year as a surprise with a fresh bouquet of flowers. When I was 14 and learned that my mom had breast cancer, I wished and hoped and prayed that she would get better. But I had no control over her medical decisions or the treatments that she had in her life or the genes that she was born with. But later, when I learned I had that same gene mutation, I could take my chances of cancer from 80% down to 2%. When I make an offer to a potential client, I can't control whether they say yes or no. I can only control how I show up, my presentation, my proposal, my reaction to their yes or no. So if we understand the power of our minds, and we understand our purpose, our clarity, and give up control over what we can't control, we can make a difference. When you look in the mirror, who do you see? Do you see your future self? Do you see the person that you are destined to become? Now, I'm not suggesting that the non-athlete is going to win a gold medal or that the non-chef will be the next Julia Child, but I am saying that if you have the will and the determination, I have a framework that might help you get started. Reflect, realign, refocus. Reflect back on your own life and your own achievement. Think of one goal that you set that you achieved. You worked really hard for something and you achieved it. Maybe it's a 25 Buick. You worked really hard to achieve it, and you got it. Now, what about a time that you thought you wanted something, you had a goal, but you didn't quite get there? You fell a little short. What was the difference between those two situations? Now, it may have been luck or timing, but it could also be that you were out of alignment with your purpose and your values. And you might need to realign those goals to fit with your purpose and your values. The last piece is to refocus. I want you to try an exercise with me. If you have a piece of paper, I don't see a whole lot of pieces of paper on your table, but if you have a piece of paper, draw a circle. If you don't, draw a circle in your mind. And inside that circle, I want you to write down a goal. Just one. It could be related to money. It could be a car, running a marathon. Whatever it is in that circle, it could take you 6 months or 6 years to achieve that goal. But imagine for just one moment that you achieved that goal. Sit with that. What are you feeling? What are the emotions inside of you right now as a result of achieving that goal? Now write down those emotions around that circle. Now, in order to move the thing that's inside the circle outside of the circle, you might have to do some reframing of your own mind and shift your mindset. Start talking about yourself in terms of I am instead of I want. If the thing inside the circle is running a marathon, instead of I want to be a runner, say I am a runner. The thing inside the circle is to write a book. Instead of saying I want to be a writer, say I am a writer. Once you believe in yourself, you can begin to move forward and set those goals, that plan, the systems and processes that you need. But it doesn't need to be gigantic. It could be one small step. What are you going to do tomorrow or Monday or next week to start moving forward on that goal? In 2014, the Hope Station was inside a circle that Quintina didn't know she had drawn. That circle may have been a dotted line, and the details may have been fuzzy. But eventually she knew exactly what to do. She knew how to take that step forward and begin helping thousands of women make a difference. It was 12 years ago she had the dream, and 10 years ago that she helped her first client. I encourage all of you today to take out your checkbooks and your credit cards and make a generous donation to make sure that Quintina and her team can continue supporting the single working moms of this community. My website is DunnWise.com. My podcast is DunnWise Perspectives. I would love for each one of you to listen to episode 2 with Quintina Waller. Thank you.